1. I used to manage a Papa John's. Every Friday night this lady would call and claim her pizza was an hour late and demand a free pizza. The last time she did it, she caught me the day my girlfriend broke up with me out of the blue. I was already angry and hurt, so when the order girl up front yelled back it was the scammer again, I grinned and said, "Put her on hold, I got this."
Is this the manager? My pizza.
Using the caller ID, I just pulled up her name and address and her order history and interrupted her. "Yes, this is the manager. The same manager you call every Friday at 7 p.m. to complain and get a free pizza. Well, that's not happening. Your name has now been changed to Scammer. You are no longer allowed to shop with us," and I told her the number for the Pizza Hut 1 block from her. "I'm sure they will gladly take your call." Then I hung up. Not 2 minutes later, new computer-run phone menu made it take a little bit to get to a person. I hear my order girl gasp. So I went out and took the phone from her. It's the scammer, and she is screaming obscenities at this poor girl. So I hung up and waited for the inevitable callback. Sure enough, 2 minutes later, she calls back and I answer the phone. She starts screaming that she wants the manager. I said, "I am the manager." She curses at me and I hang up. She calls again, and I answer. I lead with, "This is the manager speaking. Curse at me again and you will hear a dial tone again. How can I help you?" She starts berating me for my horrible employees, my horrible attitude, and she's getting me fired because her brother is the DM. But it can all go away if I just deliver her pizza. So I respond with, "Tell Bill that I said you're a bitch, and will never be served by us again." Oh boy, does she get mad. Said her husband's going to kick my butt and all this other crap. So I said, "You're in luck. You know where I'm at, and I'm the only guy on tonight, so it won't be hard to find me." Roughly 20 minutes later, a man and a woman come in. Woman is livid. Man is pacing the lobby, all jacked up in adrenaline, ready to fight. I am sitting up on the counter and smile real big. "How can I help you?"
"Are you the manager?"
"Why, yes, I am." She's telling him to go a few rounds with me. She screams and her husband comes marching around the counter. At this point I get up, all 6'5" and 245 pounds of me, and look straight down at the 5-0 guy. He immediately turns around and goes back to his wife and starts yelling at her.
"You said I had to beat down some dude. You didn't say anything about a goddamn Sasquatch. We are leaving."
Last I ever saw or heard from her again. It was a great night. 2. Okay, let me start by saying that I am not a small man. As stated in Sasquatch, I am in fact 6'5" tall and weigh about 235 pounds. I have also been told that I have a bad attitude and I don't suffer stupid well. I had been working at Papa John's Pizza for about 6 months. My high school best friend was the manager at the Albuquerque, New Mexico store that I worked at. I was seeing this girl who was a delivery driver, but things hadn't been too good. I told her honestly that I liked her, but that 3 or 4 days of hanging out was not enough time to know if I loved her. Well, this angered her, so as some weird form of revenge, she started seeing this other driver. Now this guy, whose name I cannot remember, was 5 foot 1 inch, and also weighed in at about 135 to 155 pounds. I guess she fed him some sob story because suddenly he went from somewhat friendly to hating me in a single shift. He spent the whole shift doing little things to get on my nerves, like standing in the way and refusing to move, forcing me and the other line workers to go around him, mixing up the toppings on the line, making us reset it due to cross-contamination concerns, etc. I had been working since 9 a.m. It was going on midnight. It had been a long, tiring day. A last-minute set of online orders came in, and I was the only cook left in the store. He started in again, but I had had enough. He stood between the oven and the cut table, in the 2 feet wide space I needed to pass through to get to the make line, and I wasn't about to go all the way around the cut table the other way yet again. I asked him to please move, go stand by the driver's station so I can do my job and go home.
"Make me,"
was his response. Make me? 1 second he is standing there with this smug look on his face, laughing with his girlfriend, who is egging him on. The next he is on the make line gasping for air while I am stuffing sauce, toppings and cheese down his shirt and in his mouth. My manager and best friend since high school comes running over and pulls me off this kid. He spends some time hearing what had been happening all day long, while this kid is screaming he wants me fired. My ex is screaming about me being jealous and it's all bull, etc. Then my manager looks at me and asks, WTF were you going to do? Well, you pay me to make pizza. He wanted to be one so bad I was going to help him. 3. In Albuquerque, I had taken over as the manager of the University Papa John's. Albuquerque has a semi-large population of homeless people, and they would occasionally come in the store to see if we had any extra pizzas we could give them. The same guy came in every night and would take a crusty, nasty old stale pizza that was on the shelf all day, and he was grateful for it. After about a month of this, we started talking, and he told me about his life. He had been drafted to the U.S. Army right out of high school and spent 3 tours in Vietnam. He spent 40 years in the Army before retirement, lost his wife and kids in a car accident, and had basically given up on life. Well, having spent some time in the Army myself, his story hit me in the feels. I offered him a job. I told him if he came every night at midnight and swept, mopped, and threw out the trash, I would make him anything he wanted. This went on for about 3 months. When I took a night off, I got really drunk and passed out early. Come midnight, I got a call from my assistant manager. In a quiet whisper I can barely hear, she's telling me about this dirty old homeless man who just came inside and started cleaning. She was so scared she locked herself in the office and called me. Being still very drunk, I didn't put 2 and 2 together very quickly. I threw on my clothes and ran to my car in a panic. I must have done 90 the whole way to the store, and just as I pulled into the parking lot, it hit me what had happened. I had forgotten to tell her the deal I had made with this guy. So laughing and out of breath, I head inside. Sure enough, there he is, mopping outside the office door. Now, I don't know how long he had been mopping this spot, but he had this crazy, funny grin as he stared through the window in the door at this girl. There she is, terrified, her hands are shaking, and she's holding the pizza scoop, a huge spatula, like it's the one thing between her and unwanted nakey-nakey time. It took me nearly 10 minutes to get her calmed down enough to open the door. Meanwhile, dude finished cleaning up. I explained to her the deal I had made with this guy, then sent her home. In all the excitement, I never told her to put down the scoop, so there I am with this guy about 15 minutes after she left, searching for my pizza spatula. We must have gone over that store 3 times looking for it when my cell rings. In her panic, she had forgotten she still had the scoop, and had walked home with it in a death grip. 4. This is me mainly venting. I just started this job 4 weeks ago. I have been a stay-at-home mom for the last 3 years, and have had a lot of anxiety about going back to work. I haven't even worked in a normal job setting since before COVID. This job fit well, so we wouldn't have to pay for childcare. I'm 28, female, and a delivery driver. My GM and the newest manager are 18 and male, and I am the only woman who works there. I worked as a cook at a corporate Pizza Hut 8 years ago, so I kinda know my way around the kitchen, but I know nothing about delivery. The store I'm at now is pretty chaotic, and there's no structure. Or training, to be given. They threw me in head first to delivery, and I just figured it as much as I could as I went. Whenever I was confused, I'd ask whatever manager was working, and nobody seemed to understand how the Dragontail system works. The other night, another driver showed me how I can mark an order as delivered, so I can grab 2 at the same time. I did this, then had a message pop up on my phone about order list update, or something, and that an order had been cancelled. I went back to the store to figure out what it was. I asked my 18-year-old manager. He tried to look up the order and said he didn't see anything wrong and walked off. Considering his track record, I figured he was just blowing me off. I then went and asked the delivery driver who had showed me earlier. He wasn't understanding what I was telling him either, and I had to relay the problem like 4 times at this point. We went to the screen, and the manager asked me the order number for the 2nd time. I guess I was frustrated and had a tone when I said, "Order 44." So then he says,
I don't know why you're acting like I'm not trying to help you. Whatever, I don't care. Not my problem.
and walks off. Nobody was understanding what the problem was, so I went ahead and delivered the orders so they wouldn't be late. I was upset and mad and trying to hold it together since I had to see customers. It started storming, and it was my first time delivering in the rain. I was supposed to ask a woman to sign because she didn't tip on her card but got flustered with everything going on and forgot, so no tip. I wanted to call my partner and daughter on the way back to the store so I could vent and calm myself down, but I thought that would be too dangerous with it storming. So I waited until I got back to the store to call and calm down, before I went back into the store. At other jobs, I wouldn't do that, but this place is very lax and has their employees and managers just hanging in the break room all day, on their phones unless orders pop up. I normally stay busy and working. I sit enough at home. While I'm on the phone, the store calls me and it's my manager asking what I'm doing. That I've been pulled up for 5 to 10 minutes and just sitting in my car. I came in right after that, and the other driver asked me why I cancelled an order. I was still trying to not get upset and explain to him that was what I was trying to tell them earlier. It still needed to be delivered, and it was at the same address I had been at, but was pretty late now. I had 2 orders. I get in my car and start putting in the addresses. I usually put in the addresses and then back to the store, because I'm still figuring out my way around this area. My phone has also been running super slow since I had downloaded the Dragon Driver app, which I mentioned about company phones and it making my phone run slow in front of this manager and my GM earlier, but was blown off. So, one of my coworkers comes out to my car and asked if I'm alright because I was obviously upset. I asked, "Why? Is he talking crap back there?" He said no and asked if I was okay again, and that our manager wanted me to go ahead and go because this order was really late. For some reason, this sent me into a full-on anxiety attack. I was hyperventilating and crying, and couldn't explain to this poor kid what was going on. He went back inside, and I had to step out of my car and put my hands on my knees to try to calm down. Then another coworker comes out and recognized what was going on, offered me water, and asked if I needed an ambulance. It helped me calm down enough to say I'll be okay and I'm just gonna deliver this. I shut down after that and just felt extremely embarrassed to be a mother and older than all my coworkers that day, and they had to deal with me having an anxiety attack. I've worked many different jobs, factory, warehouse, fast food, caretaker, and I've had bad bosses. But I've never had someone talk to me like that or treat me like that at a job. I really like the money and the other people at this job, so I'm not leaving. I'm just so frustrated that someone like that is even in charge, though. Hellfreezer's note: I think what you should do here is kind of poke around over their head. Just ask a casual question as to what the job of a manager is at this store. And if you get told that it's what they're not doing, just say, "Oh, I only ask because such and such an incident happened the other night, and you were told by your manager that it wasn't their problem." Perfectly innocent question to ask. You just want to know what the boundaries are and what the limitations are of your manager, because they sound very limited. 5. I have 9 years of management experience, 3 being at the GM level. I applied as an HAM about a month ago and have been working here for the better part of 4 weeks now. It hasn't been amazing or expected in any way. I was brought on as shift lead, while being told that I would receive a maxed out shift lead pay, which at the time was being communicated at the amount of $13.50 an hour. Since then, I've worked about 17 to 18 shifts, and haven't been taught any sort of outline, nor have I been scheduled to open once. I brought the lack of training outline to my DM's attention, and they informed me that I would personally have to seek out my GM to have him train me, because he's a very quiet person and it's a very quiet store. When I eventually approached my GM about why he stopped showing me things, He seemed more upset about the fact that I went to his higher-up than anything. He also gave me the excuse of that I interrupt him too much when he's training me, which isn't true in the slightest, nor is a proper reason to flat-out stop training an employee after a single misunderstanding at that. The entire time I've worked at Pizza Hut, I've had to retrain myself on my own, or ask the team members for help whenever I have questions on how the operation runs, and what's changed since the pandemic when I worked for Pizza Hut last. Believe me, I understand. But I'd never put someone in the position I've been put in here without expecting to have been told on. I have my shift lead classes done, both videos and in person. I have had issues getting the proper training, or any at all, and was recently informed, the day of my first HAM class by the proctor, that there was more assigned training to complete before attending these classes. I have begun my HAM classes recently and was told by my DM that once those classes started, she would help out my situation and raise my pay then. She had also mentioned this at the interview. Yesterday, I asked my DM when my pay would be going up, since I had started the HAM classes, and she responded with, "What are you talking about? I never said that." After further discussion, she gave in, and said she had mentioned she would put me up to 15 an hour once I'm running shifts, which is almost seemingly being delayed intentionally, as 3 or 4 weeks is plenty of time to have someone prepared to run shifts, let alone a person who ran shifts in the past for the same company, and has been a GM for a competitor for 3 years since. I have an interview with Domino's later for the same position I applied at Pizza Hut for. I made them aware of this, and their response was, "Good luck." I'm supposed to have a conversation with the Director of Ops later, and depending on how that goes, I'll also be speaking to HR. In my decade of work experience, this has been a very unexpected and unprofessional turn of events that I have never witnessed before. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Parables from the Pizza Oven, Episode 11. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. Before you go, please do hit the like button and share the video with friends and family. I mean, you don't have to do that before you go. You can do the sharing part later at your own convenience. I mean, don't pressure yourselves. I mean, it's a tough old world, you know, quite clammy today for me as well, so let's just relax. Let's just relax. Although, if you would like early access to the videos, you can get that by supporting me on my Patreon page, which is linked in the description, and you can do that for as little as $1 or more if you'd like a month. You'll also find a link in the description to the Hellfreezer merchandise store on Teespring, as well as a link to the Discord server if you'd like to join us over there. And if you really like today's video, you can leave a tip for that by clicking on the heart with a $sign underneath and selecting the tip of your choice. That is not required, although it is appreciated. Okay, let's see. I don't think we have any other business today, so although an update, I did a birthday shout-out for Kieran, I think it was a couple of weeks back now, just to let you all know that they came through their surgery and they're doing well. I got an email from them yesterday updating me, and I was glad to hear. I had been wondering. Okay, we have no other business today, so let's move right along to Hellfreezer's question and answer of the day. And today's question is, do you adjust your eating habits based on the weather? Like in the summer weather, I'm definitely more sandwiches, cold pastas. It's not to say I'll never eat a hot meal during the summer, I certainly do, but a lot less than I would in the winter. A lot less soups as well. But I still do my best to eat as semi-healthy as I can, making smoothies and things like that. But that's my answer. Why don't you let me know what yours is in a comment below. And before we go, let's have the answer of the day from a previous video, and that would have been a while ago. And I believe this question was in reference to what are your plans for the new year. This must have been an end-of-year video. And today's answer comes from Unorthodox Box. Unorthodox Box. I'm opening an Etsy store in the coming months this 2024. I think my overall goal is to try and make it just a smidge profitable. Well, I certainly hope that's going well for you, Unorthodox Bucks. As a self-employed person myself, it can be tough out there, but it is nice being your own boss. Okay, and with that, I'm going to head off for now, so until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourself.